statement. We did a great job of getting runners on base and did a poor job of getting them in. Especially early, I think we had a chance to really set the tone early. Bases loaded, nobody out in the first, bases loaded, one out in the second. I think bases loaded again in the third. A whole slew of runners after that we just weren't able to, once again, come up with big hits to put up crooked numbers early on and really set a tone. On the flip side, they got pitches to hit and they didn't miss. Those guys hit the ball at the ballpark. Ball was carrying tonight again. Wind blowing out, ball jumping. And there were a couple of fly balls that carried out, but for the most part, they hit some balls very hard that went a long way. And we know that's their game. And you know, when we fall behind hitters and against good hitters, they don't miss, and they're going to punish us. So. Bottom line, this is the first two games have not gone how we planned against them, but just talking to the guys, playoff baseball starts tomorrow. We're in that position to where every game is a playoff game, and we have to start playing as such. We have no more cushion, we have no more leeway. We have to lock in and focus better than we're doing right now, because it's not good enough. So. We just got to be better, and situations are coming up again that we're putting ourselves in good situations. Again, I'm talking about the offensive side of the ball. Whether or not we're trying too hard, but we're just not focused on the process of getting pitches up in the zone and driving the ball the way we're capable of. We're rolling over and giving them easy double plays to let them off the hook, and we have to just be better than that. So we've talked about it. There's nothing more we can preach and teach. It's just a matter of executing better.
You talked last night about your message to the team being like, take the positives, try to use those. A lot of positives you had last night, and use those to go into today. What was the message like today, walking back in there after
I just said it. I mean, it's the focus has to be better from a standpoint of, you put up 14 hits and we have. I don't know how many base runners. I'm trying to find it here. We had a lot of base runners left on base. So again, we did a great job of setting the table and having a pretty good arm. You know, Stormy Rhodes is a good arm that has a lot of sink and run on his ball, and we knew that going in. And we did a good job setting the table, but then we chase below the zone when it's time to cash in and hit into double plays and get jammed and chase pitches in off the plate. We didn't get to those situations by doing that. So why all of a sudden when we get runners in scoring position do we clam up and do something different instead of focused on what we do best? And that was the message. To me, I think everyone's trying. Maybe they're trying too hard. Instead of just letting the game come to them and stay focused and locked into the process more than the result. Everybody wants to get hits, of course, and be the guy, but you have to have a plan of attack with what you're doing, and can't just be up there swinging to swing and hoping. So to me, that was the message of it's going to take more focus on what we're trying to do.
Building off of that, they said hitting is contagious, but when there's that perpetual feeling of, oh, we can't come up with a big hit, do you think maybe that's also contagious?
Maybe, but are you going to allow it to be contagious, or are you going to take control of the situation? So, you decide. Right? Baseball's a game like that if you let it control you and let the mind game start and the pressure that you put on yourself mount, then it will. Instead of flipping the script and saying, screw it, I'm going to focus on the process of getting a pitch up in the zone and waffle that some bitch to the center field, right? And good things happen. Again, focusing on, I want to get a hit. Well, so of course you do. That guy on the mound wants to get you out too. So have a game plan and stick with it, which we talk about until we're blue in the face. But again, we do a good job setting the table, but we gotta cash in.
Seems like situational hitting has kept this team from maybe reaching its full potential. How have you seen that affect you guys over the course of the season?
I mean, we're sitting here talking about it, so it's a tough pill to swallow when you have opportunity time and time again to cash in, and you don't. It's frustrating. Frustrating as a coach, frustrating, the boys are frustrated. I think that we're all frustrated about it, because we know we can be better than this. So, again, do we sit and dwell on it, or we try to fix the problem by locking in more on the process versus the result? We can sit here and look at the numbers all day long, but at the end of the day, that doesn't do a whole hell of a lot if you're not locked into the process of what you're trying to do.
Has there been a variety of different methods to try to get the message across? It felt like there have been points at the year where it's been a hindrance, and I'm assuming you mentioned it there, that you've gotten the message across to them, but it's still not turning into results when it comes down to the field. Practices have gone well. Has there been a variety of different things you've tried to, I guess, kind of mend it?
I'd love for you to spend a day with us. Like, I really would. I'm not trying to be funny. We religiously go through lead-up drills and have machines set to how the pitchers that we're going to see looks like that day, with their breaking stuff similar to what they're going to be seeing. We are giving every tool possible to be successful, and working diligent, and work ethic has never been a problem with this group. And again, I just believe in those moments, guys want to do it so bad that they're losing focus on what it takes to get it done versus just, I want to get it done. Not sure if that's making sense, but as a baseball player, you get that. You're going up trying to get the result instead of focus on what it takes to get the result, I guess. And yeah, we talk about it and go through it daily, and and these guys put a ton of effort in, the coaches put a ton of effort in, and I get frustrated like everybody else when we don't come through with what the expectations are, but it's not from the lack of effort and the lack of what we're trying to do.
I believe it was in the second inning, Beckett Zavorik bunting situation. He bunted 3-1. Was that called from the dugout, or was that him calling it himself?
No, that was me. I was putting a sack bunt on there, and my thought there was, if they're going to pitch to Landon, great, and if they're going to walk him, then we got the bases loaded with arguably one of our hottest hitters with new Contradas coming up. So I wanted to force the issue and put 2 more runners in scoring position, knowing that I had the top of my lineup coming up. And I was maybe 50-50 on whether or not they would have walked Landon or not. And again, I was okay if they did in that moment. Knew had waffled a base hit his first at bat and was seeing that guy well, and I felt very confident and knew driving a ball in the gap. Unfortunately, the first pitch we hit 6-4-3, and they're out of the inning. That's what I'm, I guess, referring to is we get in those moments, in those situations. I thought we had a chance to break it open. It was early. You have a bunch of base runners on base. You with the heart of your order coming up. Again, you don't like to take the bat out of Landon's hands. That wasn't the intention, but the intention was to force the issue and force their hand to see what they were going to do. And if they were going to walk him, then great. I like my odds with New and Toigo and Rolly coming up behind him. So just didn't work out.
Coach, obviously you mentioned New and the other seniors, but just going through obviously senior night tonight, what is New and the seniors, even if they've been here for a year, meant to you in the program?
That it's when you finish your career at a Power 4 program, and whether it's Arizona State or another Power 4 program, and that's something to be said. When you get your degree and battle and make it through. Some of these guys' journeys have been very different, from others. Dean Toigo has been at every level along the way, and versus New Contradas, who's been here his whole career, and just the guys that I don't think people really quite understand the amount of dedication and effort that it takes to be successful at this level for that long. And to me, I understand that, obviously, but it's a great accomplishment for these young men to be able to do that. To graduate, first and foremost, we had how many? 11 guys out there today that have graduated and got their degree and ready to move on. And whether or not that's in baseball or not remains to be seen, but that's a heck of an accomplishment. And I think it's not only a tribute to them, but it's a tribute to the program and our academic guys, John Irwin, and all those guys they're making these guys stay on point and get their degrees. That's what being a student athlete should be about. In today's world, it's a lot about money, but at the end of the day, we can't forget that these guys are here to get an education and get a degree, and to have that many people, seniors out there that have graduated is pretty cool. Again, there's some that have been here longer than others. New Contrada's one of my favorite humans that I've had the privilege to coach. Is guys like that. It just you wish you had a whole team filled with guys like that. So it's a tremendous young man.
And when you talk about accomplishments too, I mean, obviously the softball team came back with the baseball trophy. Obviously, you got to talk to Coach Bartha real quick. But just what was it like seeing them come through here tonight?
I'm so happy for Megan and all those girls over there that have been through some adversity as well this year, and went into the tournament as a 6th seed and ran the table. Just very, very cool. Megan's somebody that I talk to frequently just about what's going on with the landscape of our programs and the challenges that we face at times, and she's a phenomenal sounding board and vice versa. And so just to see her and her girls come through today, man, very, very cool. I was honored that they took the time to come here and be recognized, and our fans gave them a heck of an ovation, which was well deserved. And again, just super happy for Megan and the whole entire softball organization. They're just a bunch of blue collar hard workers that just went out and got it done. I'm happy for them.
This was the first year that you had captains with New and Sean. What impact did you see that have on your team, and especially in the locker room and on the field this year?
Well, I mean, I think it's times like this where those guys shine through. And I talked with them after the game today, and just reminded them that, hey, you guys are the glue that's got to hold this together. The coaches, us, myself, we can sit up here and preach all day long and give messages to you guys, and hopefully it's well received. I think it has been for the most part, but at the end of the day, those two guys are the glue in that locker room that's got to keep the vibe going. They got to keep the momentum going, and we can't afford to fold up our tents and go home right now. It's not acceptable, and we've worked too hard. They're too talented of a group to do that, and but ultimately it's got to come down to their buy-in and their willingness to want to do this. I don't put this the right way. I couldn't want it any more for them. I don't sleep at night. I'm up thinking of how can I get more out of these guys, and my heart is at Arizona State. I love this place as like one of my own kids, for Pete's sake, and it affects me when we don't do as well as I expect us to, and I want to get this right, but not for me. I want to get it right for those young men in there and have them experience what this is all about. And they've worked too hard, and they're too good of a team to allow just a couple of games here to allow us to spiral off course. So their leadership is going to be extremely necessary here at this last stretch. So again, we talked about the playoff games. Playoff baseball starts tomorrow night. We can't afford to play any other way.
Coach, Sam Myers 3 for 5 tonight. He's been batting around 500 since the end of non-conference play. Is he one of those guys that might be a bit more locked in than the rest of them right now?
Well, Sammy Myers is, you tip your hat to a kid like that had really not deserved to sit. He's been playing well, and the emergence of Matt Polk, Polky wasn't giving away that job. He just was playing too well to take him out of the lineup, and he had tweaked his hammy last night, which is why he wasn't in there today. Sam Myers was next man up, and he took advantage again. So just put together some solid at bats and gave us a nice shot in the arm there offensively. And yeah, he's done a good job when you don't play for a couple weeks, or in his case maybe even a little longer, to jump right back in there and not skip a beat. That's an impressive thing to do.
Is there any update on PJ?
as far as,
Potential injury, I know there was a collision yesterday between them on base paths.
I think PJ will be fine. We just, needed to get Beckett in there today, and Beckett's been swinging a good bat, you know, was playing frequently when New was DHing, and Beckett started getting hot offensively, and I don't wanna lose that with him. You know, so we'll mix him in at short, and we'll see what Rolig's status is tomorrow. He's fouled a couple balls off his shin and hobbling around pretty good, so we'll see what his status is tomorrow, maybe shift Beckett over to third, or, you know, we'll figure that out tomorrow when we see the health of our guys.
At the end of last season, you got swept by Oklahoma State, and kind of to face some adversity in the Big 12 tournament going into the NCAA tournament. Is there any lessons that you learned from that experience last year? Obviously didn't end the way you guys wanted it to, that you're gonna take in towards the end of the season here?
Yeah, not to get caught up in all the bullshit. Just focus on our players. That's what I've learned.
Any more questions? Thanks, Coach.
Sorry for the language.